No one in the galaxy understood why the emergency beacon had been activated. It came from a dead world. A world abandoned more than 300 years ago. Every ship that had gone there had disappeared without leaving a single signal behind. So when the beacon suddenly lit up again, the Galactic Council sent its most advanced exploration fleet. They expected to find ancient ruins. Instead, they found one human, standing completely alone. Captain Alira watched the lonely figure through the bridge window of her cruiser. The planet below was covered in frozen mountains and broken cities that stretched farther than the eye could see. Towering metal structures leaned against each other like sleeping giants, while glowing rivers of blue energy flowed silently beneath cracked streets. Nothing should have survived here. Yet the human stood calmly in the middle of the ruins. No armor, no weapons, just a worn gray jacket and a small backpack. Life signs confirmed, her officer whispered. Impossible, another replied. The records say every living thing died here centuries ago. Alira narrowed her silver eyes. Prepare a landing team. Within minutes, the shuttle touched down. The wind howled across the empty streets as dust swirled around the explorers. The human didn't move. He simply watched them approach. My name is Captain Alira, she called. You are standing inside restricted galactic territory. The man smiled. My name is Daniel. I've been waiting. Those 3 words made every alien soldier tighten their grip on their weapons. Waiting? For whom? For us. Alira asked carefully. Daniel nodded. For someone willing to listen. The scanners examined him from head to toe. Human. 34 years old. No cybernetic upgrades. No hidden weapons. His heartbeat remained perfectly calm. That worried Alira more than anything. Every trained soldier showed signs of stress when surrounded by armed troops. Daniel showed none. One officer whispered, Maybe he's insane. Daniel looked toward him and laughed softly. No. I've simply survived long enough to stop being afraid. Silence filled the ruined street. Alira stepped closer. Our records show this planet has been dead for over 3 centuries. They're wrong, Daniel answered. The planet never died. It was sleeping. The words sounded strange. Almost impossible. What does that mean? Alira asked. Daniel looked toward the enormous towers surrounding them. It means something beneath the city is finally waking up. Before anyone could respond, the ground trembled. Tiny stones bounced across the cracked pavement. Every scanner suddenly screamed. Unknown energy detected. Power levels increasing. Source, underground. The entire city began glowing. Blue lights appeared one after another across thousands of buildings. Windows that had been dark for centuries suddenly shined like stars. Ancient machines awakened. Massive doors slowly opened. Somewhere beneath the city, engines larger than mountains began turning for the first time in hundreds of years. Several alien soldiers raised their plasma rifles. What is happening? Daniel quietly closed his eyes. They heard the beacon. They know visitors have arrived. Captain Alira immediately ordered everyone back toward the shuttle. But it was already too late. The ground split open. An enormous metallic structure slowly rose from beneath the city. It wasn't a building. It wasn't a machine. It was a gigantic humanoid guardian nearly 500 meters tall. Its eyes burned with brilliant white light. Thousands of smaller drones poured from hidden tunnels like swarms of glowing insects. Every weapon aboard the alien cruisers locked onto the giant. The fleet commander shouted through the radio. Fire immediately! Hundreds of plasma cannons struck the Guardian. The explosions lit the sky. Smoke covered everything. When the dust disappeared, the Guardian hadn't moved. Not even a scratch marked its ancient armor. Fear spread across every bridge in the fleet. Our strongest weapons did nothing. The giant slowly turned its head. Its glowing eyes examined every ship above. Then, it ignored them. Instead, it looked directly at Daniel. A deep mechanical voice echoed across the entire valley. Primary caretaker identified. Every alien froze. Caretaker? Daniel sighed. I hoped there would be more time. Captain Elira stared at him in disbelief. You know this machine? Daniel looked at the awakening city. It isn't just one machine. It's an entire civilization. And they're expecting me to lead them. Before Elira could ask another question, the ground shook harder than before. Far beyond the mountains, dozens, then hundreds, then thousands of giant guardians began rising together. The forgotten world had not been abandoned. It had been waiting. And every ancient machine had awakened for one human. Captain Elira could not take her eyes off Daniel. Around him, the ancient guardians remained perfectly still, their towering bodies glowing with rivers of white energy that flowed beneath armor older than most civilizations in the galaxy. Thousands of drones circled overhead without making a sound. None of them pointed their weapons at the frightened alien soldiers. They were all waiting. Waiting for one human. Every communication channel inside the galactic fleet exploded with confusion. How can a primitive human command machines that predate our history? Are they biological? Should we attack again? Fleet Admiral Corvin refused to believe what he was seeing. Fire another volley. A second wave of plasma beams crashed into the nearest guardian. The explosions shook the mountains, filling the valley with fire and smoke. When the smoke disappeared, the giant machine slowly turned its head toward the fleet. This time, it moved. Without raising a weapon, it extended one massive hand toward the sky. A glowing shield spread across the entire city like a second atmosphere. Every plasma blast simply dissolved into harmless sparks. The fleet had used enough firepower to destroy a moon. The ancient shield did not even flicker. Silence filled every bridge. Daniel sighed. I warned you. Captain Elira looked at him. You knew they wouldn't attack us. They're protectors, Daniel answered. Not conquerors. But they will defend this world if they have to. Before Elira could ask another question, the giant guardian knelt before Daniel. Its voice echoed across the valley. Caretaker, the archive requests your presence. The ground beneath Daniel began to glow. A pathway of blue light stretched toward the center of the forgotten city. Every ruined building along the road slowly repaired itself. Broken walls reformed. Collapsed towers rose again. Cracked windows became crystal clear. It was as if time itself had reversed. The city was rebuilding around them. One of Elira's scientists could barely breathe. We're watching self-restoring technology. It shouldn't exist. Daniel smiled. It was designed by humans. The scientist stared at him. Impossible. Humanity has never possessed technology like this. Daniel looked toward the shining skyline. Not the humanity you know. Those words chilled everyone. What do you mean? Elira asked. Daniel walked toward the glowing path. You've been taught that humanity was always a young species. That isn't true. Thousands of drones floated beside him as though escorting an old friend. Long before today's Galactic Council existed, humans built wonders beyond imagination. The soldiers exchanged nervous looks. History recorded humans as newcomers. Their colonies were small. Their technology was average. Nothing more. Daniel stopped beside an enormous circular door that had appeared from beneath the ground. Golden symbols spread across its surface. The door recognized him immediately. A gentle voice echoed through the city. DNA confirmed. Last registered caretaker, Daniel Carter. Welcome home. The door slowly opened. A warm light poured into the valley. Captain Elira hesitated only for a moment before following him inside. The chamber beyond stole everyone's breath. It was larger than any palace. Millions of glowing spheres floated through the air like stars. Each sphere contained moving images of planets, civilizations, and galaxies. It was a living library. Daniel looked around with quiet emotion. I never thought I'd see it again. You've been here before? Elira whispered. Daniel nodded. When I was a child. Every alien froze. A child. Daniel smiled sadly. My parents brought me here. They were the last caretakers. Before anyone could respond, one glowing sphere floated toward Daniel. It expanded into the image of an elderly woman wearing a simple white uniform. Her face looked unmistakably human. "Hello, Daniel." The recording smiled warmly. "If you're watching this, then we failed." Daniel lowered his head. "I know." Captain Elira realized she was witnessing a message recorded centuries earlier. The woman continued. "The galaxy believes humanity disappeared from the stars. We allowed them to believe that. It was the only way to protect the archive." Images appeared all around the chamber. Massive human fleets. Worlds filled with impossible cities. Machines capable of moving entire planets. Alien delegates watched in stunned silence. Nothing in recorded history matched what they were seeing. The woman spoke again. "We created these guardians not for war, but to preserve life. If one day the galaxy forgets compassion, the caretaker must decide whether these machines remain asleep or awaken once more." The message faded. A deep silence filled the chamber. Then every floating sphere suddenly turned red. A harsh alarm echoed throughout the city. "Warning! External fleets detected." Captain Elira looked toward the ceiling. New ships were appearing in orbit. Hundreds of them. They did not belong to the Galactic Council. Their hulls were black. Their weapons were already charging. Daniel's expression became serious. "They found us." Elira frowned. "Who are they?" Before Daniel could answer, the central hologram identified the newcomers. "Unknown Armada confirmed. Objective: capture the human caretaker." Outside, the first enemy battleship fired. Its crimson beam raced toward the awakening city. And this time, the Guardians did not wait to be attacked. The crimson beam fell from space like a second sun. Every alien inside the archive expected the ancient city to disappear in a single explosion. Instead, the nearest Guardian stepped forward. Its enormous hand reached toward the sky. The energy beam struck its glowing palm. For one long second, the entire valley shook. Then the impossible happened. The beam bent. It twisted into a spiral of light before shooting harmlessly into the empty sky. Captain Elira stared in disbelief. No shield. It caught the weapon. Outside, thousands of Guardians awakened together. The frozen world echoed with the sound of giant footsteps. Mountains trembled as the metal protectors marched toward the edge of the city. Above them, millions of drones formed glowing circles that stretched across the clouds. Orbit filled with enemy warships. Their black hulls blocked the stars. The lead battleship transmitted a message. "This is Commander Varkos of the Dominion Fleet. Hand over the human caretaker. The archive belongs to us." Daniel calmly stepped toward the central console. It never belonged to anyone. It was built to protect every civilization. Commander Varkos laughed. "Power exists to rule. We will reshape the galaxy." Without another warning, more than 300 enemy ships opened fire. The sky became a storm of crimson energy. Guardian after Guardian raised brilliant walls of light, protecting not only the city but also Captain Elira's fleet, which had become trapped in the crossfire. Elira watched in amazement. "They're defending us, even after we attacked them." Daniel nodded. "That's what humanity taught them." The battle spread across orbit. Enemy cruisers launched endless waves of attack drones. The ancient Guardians answered without hatred. Instead of destroying every ship, they disabled engines, shut down weapons, and rescued crews from exploding vessels. Even during war, they chose mercy. Commander Varkos grew furious. "Enough." The flagship revealed a hidden superweapon. A massive crystal cannon slowly emerged from its center. Every sensor inside the archive flashed red. The AI spoke calmly. "Planet killer weapon detected. Impact in 120 seconds." Captain Elira felt fear for the first time. If that weapon fires, the entire planet will die. Daniel looked toward the glowing heart of the archive. He finally understood why the machines had waited for him. Only the caretaker could unlock their final protocol. A quiet voice echoed through the chamber. "Caretaker, Final authorization required. A single crystal rose from the floor. Inside it floated countless stars. What happens if I activate it? Daniel asked. The AI answered honestly. The archive will survive. The Guardians will survive. But the caretaker's life energy will become the permanent core. There will never be another. Silence filled the chamber. Captain Elira stepped forward. There has to be another way. Daniel smiled gently. My parents knew this day might come. They stayed so others could live. Now it's my turn. Elira shook her head. You don't owe the galaxy your life. Daniel looked through the crystal ceiling toward the stars. Maybe not. But humanity has always been willing to stand between danger and those who cannot protect themselves. He placed both hands on the crystal. Golden light surrounded him. Every guardian across the planet stopped moving. Then they all turned toward the sky. Commander Varkos smiled. Too late. The planet killer fired. A beam larger than a continent rushed toward the world. Daniel closed his eyes. I authorize the final promise. The crystal exploded into pure white light. Every guardian became a living beacon. Their energy joined together, forming an enormous shield that expanded beyond the atmosphere. The planet killer struck. The galaxy itself seemed to shake. For several endless seconds, nothing could be seen except brilliant white light. Then, the beam vanished. The shield remained. Not a single city was damaged. Not one life was lost. Across the enemy fleet, every weapon shut down at once. The archive had reached every hostile ship, disabling only their ability to fight. Commander Varkos stared helplessly as his fleet drifted silently through space. He had lost. Without a single guardian seeking revenge. Inside the archive, Captain Elira turned toward Daniel. He was gone. Only the glowing crystal remained. The AI spoke softly. Caretaker Daniel Carter has become one with the archive. Tears filled Elira's eyes. She had known him for only a few hours. Yet his courage had changed everything she believed about humanity. Days later, representatives from hundreds of civilizations gathered on the once-forgotten world. For the first time in galactic history, old enemies stood together without weapons. The archive opened its knowledge to every peaceful civilization. New medicines ended ancient diseases. Clean energy reached forgotten colonies. Worlds damaged by war were restored. Humanity's greatest legacy had never been its machines. It had always been its compassion. At the center of the restored city, a single monument overlooked the stars. It showed an ordinary man wearing a worn gray jacket and carrying a small backpack. Beneath it were simple words written in every known language. Strength is not measured by the power to destroy. It is measured by the courage to protect strangers. Whenever new travelers arrived, the Guardians would quietly point toward the monument. They never called Daniel a king. They never called him a hero. They always used the title he had earned through kindness alone. The human caretaker. And from that day forward, whenever the galaxy spoke of humanity, it no longer called humans weak. It called them the species that chose sacrifice over conquest, and changed the future of every star forever.